got questions, I got answers. Welcome into today's New Orleans Saints mailbag. This was filmed as a part of our live show breaking down the breaking news of the Saints expecting to hire 49ers pass game coordinator Klint Kubiak to be the offensive coordinator. Welcome into Saints Now by Chat Sports. My name is Trace Girouard. Let's take y'all's questions. All right, Rain says, we got our guy, Who Dat Nation. I love the hire. I really think that this is going to do a lot of really good things for this Saints offense. I think Derek Carr is going to be very massive. He's going to be a very big beneficiary of Klint Kubiak. I think Alvin Kamara will be a big beneficiary. And I also think Taysom Hill will be utilized much more and in a much better fashion, a little bit more similar to how we saw him get used when Sean Payton was around. Less, the last couple years where it seemed like his usage was a little stale. So I love this hire. I think it's A+ hire, to be honest. Maybe A- just because it isn't, one of the top guys. But I think he is the top guy left, and I think that he is a top-tier hire for the Saints. And I love the hire, and I'm excited to see him in New Orleans. Let me know what you guys think of the hire in the comment section. Oscar, $10 super chat saying, who dat? Affordable free agents video from the 49ers? How do I become a legend? So, Oscar, you are a legend just by hanging out with us and by super chatting, going above and beyond for supporting the channel. As for your question on affordable free agents, man, 2 that I have in mind. I definitely am going to do this as a video, so shout out to Oscar for this idea. Honestly, might need to put this super chat in that video as well. But anyway, back to the topic. I want Jauan Jennings and I want Jon Feliciano. Those are the 2 players I want. Jauan Jennings, they call him Third and Jauan. He's been a very reliable target for Brock Purdy. He's the wide receiver 3 out there in the Bay. And Jon Feliciano, he filled in for Spencer Burford when he got hurt, moved over to right guard, or he moved over, he played on the offensive line on the interior at the guard position, filled in for injuries, filled in when there was, things going on the line, and he's been very, very productive. I would love to see Jon Feliciano help out the Saints. I think that he could be a cheap free agent target as well. Shane Curry, $5 super chat. What do you think the backup quarterback situation is? Or what backup quarterback situation will be next year? I'm having tongue twisters today, Chip. Jake Haener or somebody else? I think that it's going to be Haener. I would love for it to be Jameis Winston. I think it would be a lot of fun to bring him back, but Saints traded up to go and get Haener last year in the draft. They haven't really given him a chance. He did show some good things in the preseason this past year, so don't be surprised if Winston isn't back. But Jake Haener, all roads lead to him being QB2, and Saints likely bringing in a very cheap option or drafting a young quarterback or something like that for QB3. But Mikey Taylor, you also have Taysom Hill as an emergency quarterback option. With new offensive coordinator Klint Kubiak, do we have 10 or more wins next season? I already know that I'm going to change my record prediction a few times here, but I'm going to go with the Saints winning at least 10 games. I think that they could win up to 11 because I look back at games like the Packers game, the Texans game, both the losses to the Falcons, or the loss to the Falcons and the Bucs, both of those losses. I look back to games like the Jags game. Had the offense just been a little bit more explosive, you win those ball games. The offense just been a little bit better run. Had it been more creative, had it been a better offense in general, you win those games. Especially the Jags game, especially the Texans game, especially the Packers game. I'll give the Bucs credit, and I'll give the Falcons that win. Sure, they kicked our butts the first time. We kicked their teeth in the second time. But I think that the Saints can get a double-digit wins in 2024 with Kubiak. So how many wins for you, Saints fans? Predict it in the comment section for me down below. How many wins do you think New Orleans will have in 2024? Just get it in the comment section. Can't wait to see what you guys got to say. And while you're in the comment section, I encourage you to look for the link to Prize Picks to download the #1 daily fantasy sports app in North America. Just go to prizepicks.com/CLNS, plug in that promo code CLNS, and you can get up to a $100 deposit match. So Prize Picks, if you don't know what it is, it's daily fantasy sports made easy. You just pick 2 to 6 players, choose more or less based on their projected numerical stats, and boom, you can win some real-time money. So let's look at the projections I'm rolling with for the Super Bowl. Patrick Mahomes, they're running a special with him, half a passing yard. That's free money. I'm taking the more on that. Isaiah Pacheco, I feel like he's going to find the end zone at least once through the air or on the ground. And if he does, that one hits as well. And Brock Purdy, I know the Chiefs' defense is great, but I love George Kittle, Deebo Samuel, Christian McCaffrey, and Brandon Ayuk. And Jauan Jennings, like we just talked about. I think that he can throw for at least 248.5 passing yards. Fade my picks, tail my picks. I don't care what you do. Just make sure you do it with Prize Picks. Go to prizepicks.com/CLNS. Plug in promo code CLNS for that $100 deposit match. Shout out Prize Picks. It's daily fantasy sports made easy. All that info is in the comment section description of this video because I love you guys. All right, let's talk to Shane Curry. Let's see what he's got to say. Would Hollywood Brown be a good pickup for the Saints? If not, then how about Darnell Mooney? I actually like both of these options. Hollywood Brown is a very fast football player. I think he could add some burst to that offense. I mean, then you got a lot of speed in Chris Olave, Rashid Shaheed, and Hollywood Brown. But Darnell Mooney, I also really liked him as an option in Chicago. I think that he is a decent wide receiver. I don't know if he can be a wide receiver one, but I think he doesn't have to be that in New Orleans. So, honestly, I think that would be a good fit. Could help the Saints' passing game, gives Derek Carr some more options to deliver the ball to. I like both of those options. I think those are great ideas, Shane. So kudos to you. Thank you for sending in that idea. Oscar, Jalen Polk or Troy Franklin in the second round. All right, here's the thing. I know Jalen Polk is the attractive name from Washington. But if you haven't done your homework on Troy Franklin, boy, you're missing out. This guy's tied for third in touchdowns in all of FBS, I believe. It's 17 touchdowns this year, if I have the numbers correct. This guy was insane at Oregon. I think that he is going to be a very good wide receiver. I don't think he's getting enough credit. I don't think he's getting talked about enough, but I really, really like the player of Troy Franklin. I think that I would go, I think if the Saints were to go with that pick in the second round, I would love that option. All right, Jigsaw, he asks, did the Saints get the best offseason hire? So, I can't believe I'm about to do this. I really like the hire of Zach Robinson in Atlanta. I think that the duo of him and Raheem Morris will be pretty interesting. I think that that's a duo that also will look to stick around together for a while if they are successful. Knowing the Falcons, they'll find a way to screw it up. Other hires that I really like, I love the Titans bringing in Brian Callahan. I think that was a really good hire. I don't hate the hire of Antonio Pierce for the Raiders. I think that that's a good one, but I do think the Saints got a really good one. I mean, the Texans being able to keep Bobby Slowick and Gerard Johnson is huge. So I think that's a big hire as well. But I do think the Saints are getting a really, really good name, and I think they're getting a really good option. One of the better options in the offensive coordinator class this year. I'm just glad they didn't go with John Gruden or the guy from the Steelers. Can't remember his name, but he's not my offensive coordinator, so it doesn't matter. Rain, 1134. When it rains, it pours. What do you put Michael Thomas's trade value at? See, Michael Thomas's contract, it's set up to be where he is going to be a free agent in 2024, so it's not really like the Saints could trade him. But just to answer the question of his trade value, I mean, what, a 6th-round pick at most? Like, 5th-rounder for maybe you sucker a team into a 5th-round pick. I mean, he's played in less than 15 games the last 3 years. He hasn't played a lot of football. No, he hasn't. He's played more than that. No, he hasn't. Can't remember the exact game. But he's missed a lot of time. My point being, he's missed a lot of time. He has good on-field production, but I think his time in New Orleans is done. It's unfortunate. I think that we should all remember that 2019 season and remember it fondly, but I don't think that he is going to be returning to New Orleans. I also don't think his trade. He played 13 games. He played in 13 games in the last 3 years. So shout out producer Chip for that. But I don't think he has much trade value. Calvin, I hope they don't trade Alvin. Trade Dennis Allen. Unfortunately, Dennis Allen isn't a Super Bowl winning coach where you couldn't trade him like you could Sean Payton. I hope they don't trade Alvin Kamara either. I really like the player. I think he's a guy who should be a Saint for life. The production is kind of dipping, but it also, I think that's a result of the bad offense that Pete Carmichael was running, and I think it was a product of the first year of Derek Carr and last year having Andy Dalton and Jameis Winston, and I mean, it just was a nightmare. So I want them to keep Alvin Kamara, but don't be surprised if they do move on from him. Shane Curry, it would save him a lot of money for the record. This is the last question in the mailbag. How do you grade Gail Benson as an owner since she's taken over? Is she too soft on Dennis Allen and Mickey Loomis? I do think that she gives them too much of a leash. I think that their leashes are a little too long. To be honest, the fact that Dennis Allen didn't get any sort of heat on his back, or at least it wasn't reported that there was heat on his seat. I think that's kind of ridiculous. He was not a good head coach the first 2 years. Credit where it's due. Got better towards the end of last year, but then he goes and apologizes to Arthur Smith and loses the fan base. At the end of the day, I understand this is a business and they want to hire who they want to hire, but I also think you have to appeal to a certain extent, not fully, but to a certain extent to the people who are watching the games, who are filling the seats, who are buying the merchandise. Successful teams have successful successful teams have fan bases that support them when they succeed and fail. They're not doing that right now. The fan base is kind of not bought into the team. So I do think Gail Benson needs to be a little bit tighter on them. Mickey Loomis, I give him one more offseason. If he doesn't do well this offseason, I'm going to start calling, or I'm not going to call for his job, but we're going to start talking about other GM targets. But guys, make sure if you haven't already to subscribe and lock us in. If you made it to the end of the video, we're clearly doing something right. So be sure to subscribe and join our channel of over 25,000 plus Saints fans. Our offseason coverage is only ramping up and it's only getting better. So subscribe. Don't miss out on it. And y'all stay gold. We'll see you next time.